We're the Unproducers. This is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. This is Dewar's. And it's whiskey time.
Come on, let's go through the street, looking for restaurant lips. I don't give a fuck over mine. Be ready to start, yeah. It's fucking whiskey time.
You want first Poe?
I mean, yeah, it is my bottle.
Take the first Poe.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Is it bad? It looks like my piss.
You either drink too much whiskey or they bottle your piss. It's Kanye West. Let's talk about Kanye West. How do you feel about Mr. West?
Controversial opinion on that one.
I don't care what you think is controversial. I want you to be honest.
Honestly, I think he's the best in the game right now. I mean, he's made, like, consistently my favorite albums that he's... I mean, some of those albums you and I argue about, but they're still, like, my favorite.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah.
He makes good shit. I think we can agree.
I support the artist. Oh, I support his work, not the artist himself.
That's fine. I think Kanye has made a habit of always making somebody upset.
He doesn't make me upset.
I mean somebody.
Oh,
Like he's always making a group of people upset. And I don't want to get too much into it because it's not overly interesting to me, but I think part of me thinks for a long time, he's done it sort of on purpose. Because he knows it helps his people pay more attention to him.
His brand.
If he acts
evocatively,
I think.
He's the music industry's heel. He's the guy we all love to hate.
I think a lot of people take him a lot more seriously than they probably should.
Right.
That's what I think. Right. So, but that's beyond the point because this album was made back when that wasn't such an issue anyway. 2010, this one came out. It is his.
Really? It's a lot later than I thought it was.
It's his fifth album.
Oh yeah, I guess it is, isn't it?
It's his fifth studio album, and one thing you can say about Kanye that a lot of my favorite artists share, that not a lot of rappers I feel like do, is he was always evolving and trying to change his sound. And every album has pretty much a very distinct sort of flavor and sound to it.
Yeah.
Feels like he was always pushing himself in a new direction, which is what makes his music consistently interesting.
Right. Yeah. Except for his first three albums.
I also really like...
They all kind of sound similar.
I could see... I think the College Dropout and Late Registration sound more similar than any other two of his albums.
Yeah.
But Graduation's
definitely different. Yeah.
Graduation's got like and even then, there's still a pretty different sort of vibe to them, but they still use that more traditional, like, classic Kanye sampling stuff. Yeah. I really like the packaging of this album, too.
Yeah.
I've had this CD, I think, since it came out, so it was kind of beaten up, but anyway. Yeah. So overall, do you want to give any thoughts on it, or do you just want to dive in and we can do that sort of stuff at the end?
No, I don't have any, like...
Did you listen to this when it came out? I don't
No. I was not in... Okay, when this album came out, so 2010, I would have still been listening to, like, metal and country.
It is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't start getting into rap until, like, about halfway through high school.
So I'm trying to think if I listened to this right when it came out.
You said you had the album since about when it came out,
but my understanding, I think this is the first Kanye album I really got into, and because I grew up listening to what I was around a lot was rap, because that's what a lot of my family listened to. So that's mostly what I listened to, and I listened to metal and other shit too. Obviously, like I said in the Tool video, I was listening to Tool by the time I was 12 or 13, and I was, I think, 14 when this came out. So, but I still listened to a lot of rap, and I feel like I turned. I don't know. Do you feel like I turned you on to Kanye West, or do you find you picked it up yourself? Because I know a couple of our other friends at the time, I definitely was I was trying to turn them on to rap because they were all metalheads and rock heads, and I was always trying to turn people on to the rap music that I liked.
You got me into Kanye by using Yeezus.
Okay, which was 3 years after this one.
Right.
And
so like I said,
as I say, you got into that one about when it came out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I still really like that album.
It's a good album.
It is a good album.
So, let's just dive into the track list, and we can give our big opinions at the end, I think.
Yeah.
So, Dark Fantasy, first track on the album.
One of Nicki Minaj's best songs.
She's hardly on it.
Exactly.
So, immediately, this album is, if you've listened to it, I mean, it doesn't sound like most rap, but it doesn't even sound like most Kanye, and it definitely doesn't sound like 808s and Heartbreaks, which is what came out before.
Well, 808s, it's different for a reason.
Well, I know. I'm just even by this point, it was obvious that he was always doing something different, but just how it's definitely not structured like a typical rap song or even a rap opener, because it's not. I mean, it's kind of got some banger elements to it,
yeah,
but it's really like a sort of calm intro. And the piano is the main driving instrument of the song, and it's not
right.
And it's not really too heavy or anything. And there's lots of open space, like when the instruments fade out and it's just the chorus, which is something you still don't see in a lot of rap music that Kanye doesn't produce. It's one of something that he likes to do, especially like on some of the stuff on Pablo. You know, there's lots of parts where he grabs his gospel choir and brings them in, but it's just immediately a tone setter of like. There's a certain vibe that I get from this album, and I don't know how to characterize it because I don't want to call it pretentious, because that sounds like I'm like talking down at it and I'm not, because I really like it. But the vibe that I get is like it takes sort of like not normal, because he's at this point he's a rich person. He's talking about his rich person problems to an extent,
right?
But it takes like normal sort of problems that he has, and just like vulgar shit, especially in some of the later stuff about, you know, just normal relationships and sex and shit, and it packages it almost like it's like some
gold plates it.
Some like Greek myth, you know?
Yeah.
Like it sounds like Kanye evangelizing his own life as mythology,
because this is
this
album is like the heights of, hey man, it's awesome to be fucking rich, bro. And then when you get to Pablo, it's like, it fucking sucks to be rich, bro.
I mean, and this album has those downer elements too, but I really feel like it's almost like, what if he was trying to portray his life as like a Greek tragedy comedy, you know what I mean, or something. That's always the impression that I've got from it, and it's not an impression I get from lots of other music of this type. So there's lots of funny lines, you know. Kanye, you can say what you want about Kanye's music.
Kanye's got the one-liners.
Kanye's got the one-liners, whether or not you think they're amazing or cringy or both.
Great. I think they're
amazing or cringy or great because they're cringy. It's classic.
This album
sort of Kanye. So
has the have you ever had sex with the Pharaoh line on it, right?
Yeah, that's on Monster. So yeah,
that's a good line.
Dark Fantasy has the Urkel line.
Too many Urkels on your team. That's why you Winslow.
So.
Oh shit! Family Matters, man.
So it's a great start. It's not, I wouldn't call it one of my favorite tracks. I'm not going to like rank the tracks or anything, but it's definitely, I think, the perfect opener.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It definitely sets the tone. He's talking, he's setting the mood. The lyrics talk about kind of where he comes from, but mostly just like where he's at now, and just goofy ass like literature references like Sleepy Hollow and shit like that. Family. He's bringing up Sleepy Hollow and Family Matters in the same line with like a piano chorus and stuff. That's why it's funny, and that's why it's unique. So next track in this track list is fucked. It's impossible to read. Gorgeous is the next track.
I don't have too much to say about this song because I don't always remember it exists.
It doesn't stand out too much, but it does a couple things that I like, and most of them are musical. It does have the RZA on it. The RZA is the third verse. So
Is it?
It is.
Oh.
So, I mean, the lyrics are exploring. They're more like not downer, but they're more talking about like serious. They're talking about issues instead of highs, sort of, and like Kanye's voice is put through a filter that makes it sound almost like you're listening to it on like a cheap radio or something. So it's a little bit harder to hear what he's saying, and the drums are very simple until like the RZA's verse, and then they come in, they kind of like a rhythmically pound, almost like on a tom sound or a double bass sound. So
yeah,
it's got a nice little climax to it, and it's pretty good. It keeps up, the interesting production that Kanye is known for, especially by this point, and it's good shit. I like it. So
yeah,
let me see here. Fucking hell! All of the lights.
Really?
No, Power is next.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, Power.
Power was the lead single, so
fucking
that was
song.
your impression of what you were getting with the album. And I really think that Power is probably, if you could like distill this album down to one track, it might be Power. It might be, because it kind of gets across the concept of the album and the sort of production style and everything in one song. It's not my favorite.
It's definitely up there for me.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of my favorites too, and it's definitely the first one where Kanye comes out swinging. He's taking shots at like SNL and South Park,
right?
And it's really like a braggadocious type of song, except when you get to stuff like the bridge with the instrumentation again, where it kind of is willing to kick the percussion out and kind of swing down a little bit.
He poses a true philosophical question. Do you have the power to let power go?
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does either, bro.
But he's thinking about it, which is better than most people do, I would think.
Yeah.
So, I've always loved this one. I think this is probably the first song. I think this song probably encouraged me to buy the album and listen to it.
Right.
And for whatever reason, the first time I listened to it, I like this. I heard it first, and I just listened to it, and then after that, I listened to it 2 or 3 times while I was playing Super Mario Sunshine one time. So now Super Mario Sunshine and
what a weird
and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy are irrevocably linked inside of my brain.
That's some Pavlov bullshit right there.
That is some Pavlov bullshit indeed.
Your bell powers your little bell, and then you just want to play Super Mario Sunshine.
All of the Lights is the next track, and the second big single. This one is
crazy song because it brings up a now dead bookstore chain.
This one, the drums, the production, especially the drums, are fucking insanity. I have never been able to parse how much shit is packed into the drums, because there's so much like all of the drum sounds are like rolling over each other.
This song is packed like a dude who's trying to save money on his overhead baggage.
In which I think fits because, once again, we have a high and a low. The verses are kind of the chill, sort of downer parts, and then all of the lights, when the chorus comes in and the bridge, that's when the drums stay, and it's almost like a Kanye saying, like, all this fame, like, this is what gives me life, like, this is what gives me energy.
And it's Rihanna who's on this song, right?
In terms of who all is on it, there's like 40 or 50 people. Because, the background chorus towards the end, like Elton John's on it, all kinds of people, yeah.
Huh.
But Rihanna does the chorus, and then Lady Gaga does the bridge about unemployment line, that part.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that Lady? I didn't know that was
That's not Lady Gaga. Sorry, Fergie.
Oh.
Fergie.
It's even worse.
Oh, it's way worse, yeah. But that is Fergie.
I thought
That's
it was
not
still
Lady Gaga.
Rihanna for some reason.
No.
Huh.
So, yeah, we got the famous Michael Jackson reference. Another thing that Kanye is good for is the memes.
Yeah, he's good for
Kanye,
the memes.
these one-liners are good for the memes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my favorite thing is this Saved by the Bell scenes, but with the Kanye lyrics on them.
Yeah, are just like, what was the comic strip? Some comic strip that normally runs in like Newsweek. I've seen those edited with Kanye lines instead of the actual lines, and they're fucking hilarious. So All of the Lights, good. It's probably the most like maximalist song on the album because it's like it's so it's so Kanye in terms of how like a lot of ways it comes off as like narcissistic, but like in a really like cool fucking way that you like because he's building himself up.
The
so
lyrical
much.
content though. Is
on the verses, that's what I'm saying. Those verses will they bring you down, and he's talking about some real shit. But when you get to the chorus, it's almost disconnected in how like
well, it's the cognitive dissonance that goes on with
exactly.
Kanye's life, bro.
Exactly, and I think that's probably the theme of the album. But we'll talk about that more in detail as we go. Also, this track has also like the Tool video. I'm going to try to build on that concept a little bit. Remember we talked about interludes. This one has that violin interlude, which is a separate track. Which I never listened to the song without the violin intro. I can't say that I do. So. Another case where if it was my album, I would have just made it one track because fuck you for wanting to skip 30 seconds of violin. That perfectly leads into it.
Right.
Especially after Power, which does sort of have a fade out, but it's a very like energetic track, and this track is too, but the violin is like a transition from that sort of energy into this sort of energy, which I think are pretty different. Let me see here. Monster.
Now, this is Nicki Minaj's best verse.
This is the posse cut, or one of the posse cuts, but to me this was always the posse cut on the album. And it's really fucking good. It's really enjoyable.
It's Rick Ross,
Kanye, Jay-Z, and Nicki Minaj.
Right. Nicki Minaj has she's got some bars on this song.
What she wants, man. When she like puts some energy into it.
I mean,
and technically,
I kind of doubt she wrote them.
Oh, I'm sure she wrote them. They come off as very, like, her. We can get into it. Now the rumors are coming out about Kanye having ghostwritten a lot of his lines over the years, so I don't even want to get into that. But who knows? I mean, who knows to what extent that is or isn't true. And, a lot of the time it could be something like he's in the studio with this and this person, and he's bouncing lines off of... They're bouncing lines off of each other.
This is Nicki Minaj's best verse on this song. And Jay-Z's worst.
It's bad.
It's bad.
That's right. It's just kind of corny.
Yeah, he goes through like the classic movie monsters, and then you're like, okay, what's he getting to? And then he kind of just drops it like a bar of soap.
So Rick Ross serves as like the intro, sort of. He's the build up, and then Kanye's and Nicki's verse are pretty similar. They're not like talking about like they're describing themselves as monsters almost in the rap way.
Yeah.
The rap way where like, man, I'm so fucking badass and cool,
I'm hype. I'm cool.
But Kanye, the effect on his voice and some of the lines he uses call back to like horror imagery and stuff. And he references the devil and other shit, so and then
I think this has my favorite line on it, where he goes, "You ever had sex with the pharaoh? Now she's saying I bruised her. I put the pussy in her sarcophagus. Now she's saying I bruised her esophagus." Classic line, right
fucking
there.
Kanye.
Classic line.
That's about as Kanye as it gets. Now she wants to swallow shit.
Yeah.
So and then Jay-Z he talks about the movie monsters, and then he mostly sorts of talks about the normal Jay-Z stuff of his life before he was successful, and then he also, kind of how he's made himself successful over the years.
He's made other people successful, and now they're just, they're
like out to. It's more like it's just it lacks a. I mean, not that Nicki's and Kanye's verses are super cohesive, but his just feels kind of rambly. I don't know. Rambly and not overly interesting, kind of this sort of tired Jay-Z stuff, but it's just it especially stands out as less interesting when it's packed between maybe Kanye's single best verse on this album in terms of like wordplay and just his energy, and probably one of Nicki Minaj's best verses that she's ever written and performed. So
the question I have is, I don't know much about the Nicki Minaj mythos.
Yeah.
So does she play a couple characters in her music, or what?
She does. She kind of does She kind of like does what Eminem used to do and does it even more. Just because Eminem always had like the Slim Shady character that would be like when he's overly cartoony and violent and hypersexualized. Right. That'd be the Slim Shady character. And she has different characters, too, of one of them, like... And she does different voices for him and shit, too, so...
Yeah, because I was going to say, she has, like, a complete and utter tonal shift about halfway through her verse.
Yeah, and I don't think... As far as I understand it, I'm not a super huge into her music. As far as I understand it, it's not super, like... cohesive and clear, and they're not. Yeah. She's not like she well-defined these characters and then busts them out.
Yeah,
it's more like she has these different tendencies when she's rapped, and she's labeled them as separate characters, and in different cadences she uses and shit. So, good track. And then it's got Bon Iver at the end too. So Bon Iver's all over this album. I think he's on like 4 or 5 tracks, and he's a. Do you listen to Bon Iver?
No.
You should listen to him. You'd like him because he makes like weird, like ambient type folk music and. And a lot of the not emotional, but like the ponderous sort of parts of the different songs towards the end, like this one, he sings on Lost in the World, I think. And he's just like, kind of brings the song to a close, brings the energy down. Which all of these songs is another thing. They all have a lot of tones in them.
Right.
So each one feels like a very complete sort of idea.
Yeah.
None of them feel one-faceted, which when you get to something like Yay, for instance. All of the songs are kind of so short that they feel like maybe each one has a good idea, you know?
Yeah. And
then how well it does that idea is up to you, and that's not what we're here to talk about, but you see what I'm saying.
Right.
Let me see. This is fucking hard to read. Devil in the New Dress. This one's a bop. This one is my... I'm trying to decide what my favorite track is because it's hard to decide, but this is one of the top 3 or 4. Top 3 or 4.
Is this
Let me throw out what's in the running while we're going. So Power, Monster, Devil in a New Dress, and I think Runaway. I think are the 4 that are in my running, and Devil in a New Dress may.
Okay, so Devil in a New Dress, that's the one where he's talking about marrying a porn star, right?
No.
Oh.
That's Hell of a Life.
Oh, right.
This one's more somber. That one's got like almost like a dance sort of beat to it.
Yeah.
And very like more vulgar lyrics. This one's more like it's more self-reflective. Like
okay.
In the same vein that Runaway is, like, he's kind of saying that, like, I know I'm an asshole, and I know I'm hard to be around. Yeah. And Rick Ross's verse on here, I think, is also Rick Ross's best verse that he's ever written. It's really good, and the production has a sample from Avril 14th by Aphex Twin, which is a really good song. Kanye will always bust out the odd samples, so...
Yeah.
And what makes me wonder how much he listens to the music he pulls samples from and how much of it is like digging through record crates and stuff and just trying to find the coolest.
Yeah. Well, I would assume that he does listen to a lot of stuff he samples and that affects the music that he then makes.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So, the track list is bigger right here. So, I could have been saving myself a little bit of ice cream this whole time. Devil in a New Dress. So yeah, another thing about this album is the tracks are long. A lot of the tracks are really long, which is also abnormal for a lot of rap music. It's becoming... There's more people willing to make weirdo long tracks nowadays, but especially for an album of this caliber and stuff. Like, a song like Monster's like almost 7 minutes. I think Devil in a New Dress is almost 7. Runaway's 9. I think Blame Game, without the interlude at the end, is like 5.
Yeah.
So... Alright. So Appalled. Wait. Yeah, Devil in a New Dress. So Appalled. So Appalled might be before Devil in a New Dress. It's hard to tell and I don't remember. I think maybe it is.
It's, yeah.
So Appalled is kind of another posse cut.
Yeah.
And it's sort of braggadocious and it's got a lot of room for the other rappers to take a little bit of spotlight, but
right. So yeah.
Another one of those kind of high life. That's kind of the vibe of the song is.
Kanye comes out against Donald Trump in this song.
Yeah, long before everybody else, Kanye came out against Donald Trump.
Top of this shit.
And nowadays, who knows?
Right. So who's all on this again? Kanye.
Pusha T's on here, I
Pusha
believe.
T.
Another guy on Good Music called Sci-Hi the Prince is on here.
Is he?
He's the one talking about exotic fishes. That's what the line I always remember. Different exotic fishes. Yeah.
Who's the guy talking about the months where he met May in April, and she found out about or something about, and she chose to March. Who's that? That's like towards the end, right?
That might be the same. Is there 3 guys or 4 guys?
There's like 4 dudes on the song.
Well, let me bust out the credits and we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, because he's talking about who's like.
We want to give credit where credit's due, of course.
Right. There's different. He does like a double meaning for the months. So I cannot remember.
Swiss Beats,
No.
Jay-Z, Pusha T, Prince, Sci-Hi, and The RZA. So Jay-Z, I forgot about Jay-Z's verse, which is, it's pretty good. It's fine.
Which one is his again?
I forget a single line from it.
Yeah.
But I haven't listened to the album super recently.
Jay-Z is like...
Everybody brings pretty good stuff on here.
Except for Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's, I'm of the opinion that it's fine. I don't dislike it, I know that. It's not super memorable.
If you disliked it, you remember what it was.
Yeah. It's just not super memorable, but even... So who has the last verse? I can't remember. Maybe RZA. I don't think Swiss Beats has a verse. I think he just talks.
Oh. Okay.
So... But yeah, just another sort of high life sort of song to go with the more somber Devil in a New Dress that comes, I believe, after, now that I look at it. But then we have Runaway.
I don't like this song.
You don't like it at all?
Not really, no. I feel like it's too long. It kind of drags. It doesn't do anything interesting for me. It's just a 9 minutes of, this is... I know everybody likes it, but I don't... I mean, it doesn't do anything for me.
I would understand, like, not liking the sort of, like, interlude and then that talk box shit at the end that goes on for a few minutes, like, I think 4.5, like, almost half the song, like 4 minutes.
So which one is it with the Chris Rock? Or is it...
That's Blame Game.
Okay. We'll talk about that when
Runaway has... It's more down tempo. It's got the single piano note intro, but the lyrics are all like, the choruses have a toast for the douchebags, have a toast for the assholes. That one.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't like the talk box shit, this is still like, in terms of like self-examination and just like Kanye being honest about like, hey, I'm kind of an asshole. I get it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I understand why people like it. It's just, I don't, and I think it's, I don't know if I just don't like Kanye being more reflective in a lot of his music, because, like, I'm like, I like Kanye being, like, this kind of crazy, weird asshole, and that's more of, like, what I like from Kanye than, like, him going, I'm kind of a dick, I understand it.
I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
A track like Runaway, I mean, I guess Blame Game and Devil in a New Dress too. And I guess even Gorgeous, and a lot of the songs have moments like these, but this song is probably the most, like, sort of provides oomph to that bottom side of the album where, like I said, he's trying to show the highs of his life and the lows of his life at the same time.
Right. So
I don't know if this is still true, but I think at the time, after his mom died and shit and all this stuff, I think he's gotten a lot of shit from the media, but I don't know if anyone is harder on Kanye than like he is on himself a lot of the time.
Right.
That's what I think. So good shit. The music video's bonkers. Fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
I won't get too much into it. That's its whole own thing because it's basically half of a movie.
Yeah.
We have...
Should be Hell of a Life, right?
It's Hell of a Life, then Blame Game. So Hell of a Life This one
honestly, one of my favorite songs of this album.
combines that like self-aggrandizing energy, but with lyrics that are like obviously like he's like, yeah, let's do some fucking fucked up shit.
Yeah, talks about marrying a porn star.
Yeah.
Fucking her in a bath. No, wait. He
Yeah.
talks about fucking her in a bathroom stall.
Oh yeah, they're fucking in the bathroom stall, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So I like the production on this one.
Yeah.
I like the production on everything. I don't need to repeat it, but
Yeah.
definitely combines like the romantic tones of a lot of the later half of the album, because a lot of the second half of the album is focused on like his romantic life.
Yeah.
So. But with the it's self-explanatory, but with the like upbeat energy and it's always given me like a rave flashing lights sort of vibe.
Yeah.
So also good shit.
Of course.
Blame Game.
I
lied. Blame Game samples Avril 14th by FX Twin. You know somebody typed a comment about how I was wrong, but it's actually this one because I remember the chorus is Blame Game, love you more, and that's to the melody of the piano line on that song. So apologies for my mistake. I fixed it in the video though. Blame Game. How do you feel about Blame Game, Eric?
I like Blame Game. I do not like the outerlude of Blame Game. I don't have a lot to say about Blame Game and I don't have a lot to say about a lot of the back half of this album because I don't necessarily. Usually about the time I get to Monster, I'm kind of checked out a little bit on this album because like I said, I don't necessarily like a lot of the songs where he's more self-reflective, and I think this song is a lot more self-reflective than some of the other songs on here.
Yeah.
And who else is on this song?
Should have just kept the credits out.
Yeah, because I don't think it's Rihanna again, is it?
It might be. I forget. They've worked together a lot.
Yeah. Should be Taylor Swift, though.
Blame Game.
Yeah. Okay.
John Legend.
Is it John Legend?
It's John Legend, but like the sample might. Who knows what the sample is?
Oh, okay.
There's always a lot of.
Because I thought.
Oh yeah, samples Avril 14th by.
Oh, okay. I was thinking for some reason I thought there was a female refrain on this, but it's not.
I mean, on the outro, there's like Chris Rock talking, and there's a female.
Yeah.
On there.
I think I was confusing it for another song. The outro, fucking it's disgusting to me because, like, it's just so creepy to me. It's incredibly creepy.
What's creepy about it?
I know you
said that you don't find it very like funny, but I've never found it creepy.
I don't know. To me, it just feels really skeezy. Like, damn, who taught you this shit?
No, I mean,
Yeezy taught me.
I mean, it is kind of skeevy. That's kind of the point, I think.
When he says the line, "Who reupholstered your pussy?" Like, come on, that's a little gross to me.
Oh, I that's fair, but I definitely think that is the intention, and you're supposed to be like, that's fucking nasty. What the fuck?
Right, but like it's gross. It's, like, I cannot imagine this as a conversation that is happening in like around me. It's a porn conversation, is what it is, and And I
don't think this is I think if you really want to try to contextualize this conversation to something, I don't think it's here as like. Kanye is this is a conversation real people would have after this woman slept with Kanye. I think it's clearly him thinking like, I probably, I reupholstered that pussy. And she's going to go on for the rest of her life telling Chris Rock about but really it's him being as Kanye as possible. So I mean, I understand the first couple times I heard it, I find it funny. Conceptually, I still think it's pretty funny. Obviously, hearing the same joke over and over again, you're not going to find it funny forever, and I've heard this joke 9 years ago. But
right, it's funny when you're a 14-year-old.
I honestly think it's a little bit weird that it's on this track. It seems more like that'd be something that's on like Hell of a Life, for instance.
Yeah.
Or if Monster was just Kanye's verse, then, you know, on Monster, just because of how he's looking at, like, him, he's pretending that he's a sex god, or he's pretending that he's the richest guy, or that everybody loves him and all this other stuff. So,
well, I mean, I can kind of understand it in terms of Blame Game's kind of about a breakup, and then
she's like
going back to she's either going back to the guy she was with before Kanye,
and Kanye is imagining that, like, her pussy is irrevocably reupholstered.
Yes,
thanks to him.
Forever changed. She went with Kanye with velvet. She left Kanye with leather.
And I just want to say, to me, this entire album has always come across as more like, if you want to categorize it, like Kanye's inner monologues more than like Kanye's life experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's my beautiful dark twisted fantasy.
Exactly.
There you go. You figured it out. You unlock the code, Da Vinci.
I gotta unlock it for everybody else. Let's see. We only have 2 more tracks left, and really 1 more song. So Blame Game is, in a lot of ways, is kind of the last normal kind of rap song on the album, because Lost in the World, I actually know a bit about this one. It's based on a poem he wrote for Amber Rose, who he was seeing before they broke up, that's a lot of the breakup stuff is inspired by this album.
Yeah, because...
And then I think he gave the poem to Kim Kardashian. And that's one of their earliest communications, was him sharing this thing that he wrote originally for somebody else, but giving it to her. I think I might be not exactly on base there, but
Kanye, Nicki Minaj makes reference to Amber Rose on Monster, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, she says they should Minaj my tay.
Yeah. So,
which is I don't think the correct terminology.
No, it's not, but we'll forgive her. She makes a lot more money than us. She must be right.
Well, if that were true,
Jeff Bezos is the most intelligent person on the planet. So, Lost in the World. It's got Bonnie Varigan on it. It's not really a rap song at all. It's just him kind of going over the lyrics to this poem with sort of a electro techno-y kind of beat, and lots of cool sounds in there, and in a nice little outro. But it is a good. What I think he was going for was sort of like a climax that necessarily isn't like him doing what he's been doing the whole album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if it was just like, if it was him at the highest point or at the lowest point, it would sort of be like, that's what the whole album's been about, is that the contrast between the high life and like feeling shitty about yourself. So I think, Lost in the World does a good job of like being energetic and climactic while kind of separating itself, almost like, and it's obviously something he wrote for somebody else. So it's like
finding a fry.
It's like thinking about his legacy almost, or like what he can give to other people more than about himself.
Right.
And I think that's what makes it a good climax and a good like closer, even though there's 1 more track, which isn't really even a song, but a good closer to the album is it kind of provides closure to the idea that he's so self-absorbed that maybe he can, even if he's lost in the world, he can give something to somebody else and make their life better. So, and then the last track is Who Will Survive in America, which is a quote, and I should have sourced the quote before, and it's just sort of vague. I'm sure in context, it's not as vague, but it just sort of like, things are shitty. Who's gonna survive? Who's gonna climb to the top?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's, well, you could speculate all day about what necessarily it means from Kanye's perspective, but I think it kind of means that he understands that like he's not at the top of the food chain necessarily. He isn't the best, so maybe what can he do to make this pain go away and be better and do better and be happier. So good shit.
Yeah.
So like I said, we've went over a couple times. I think the strongest theme of the album is like the contrast between the highs and the lows. And just putting putting everything on a pedestal, like, of... I mean, I guess a lot of art does this, but he's trying to make his life seem as big and grandiose and evocative and mythological and fantastical as possible because, it's his life. So that's all he knows.
It's a hell of a one, too.
That's his experience, so he's just putting it on display for everybody else. And it's a very unique and fun album.
Yeah. Definitely.
Different from all of his other stuff, different from most other stuff. It's super unique and interesting and fun.
It's not my favorite Kanye album, but it's certainly, like, up there. As far as, like, if I want to sit down and listen to a couple, like, Kanye songs, I'll listen to, like, a couple off of this.
Yeah. And I would say it probably is my favorite. And it doesn't have, like, all of... it doesn't have a ton of my favorite Kanye songs, necessarily, but I think, like, thematically and overall, and especially the production-wise, I'm really a fan. Actually, speaking of production, I just recently found this out probably a year ago or so. There's a There's a version of the album leaked that is... It's called the unmastered version.
Okay.
So a problem with this album, and lots of albums, and we've talked to... You and I personally have talked about it before, is, like... The loudness war stuff, you know what I'm talking about? Or I've mentioned Rick Rubin before.
Yeah.
Where the dynamics are kind of the higher, the louder portions are normalized, so the dynamic range is, like, decreased. So there's less contrast between the highs and the lows. The unmastered version of this album, I personally think is a lot better.
Really?
Yeah, I'll try to find it and link it to you so you can listen to it. But I mean, it doesn't sound way different, but especially on something like All of the Lights, I can't. I mean, the actual album version of All of the Lights feels so like. I mentioned that all the drums are kind of rolling over each other and stuff,
right?
And that's something I like, but it's everything is so compressed and crushed that, like, the dynamic ability of the album actually comes out a lot more because, like we've been saying, the quiet parts, the low parts, contrasted with these big energetic parts with all these different drum lines and all these different instruments and stuff. The contrast is even better, I think, on the unmastered version, which I think was kind of lost when they mastered the album, unfortunately. So I would try it out at least. It exists. It's out there floating around, so I would give it a shot. I think if you Google it, you can find it and download it somewhere. So
yeah, you can download anything on the internet.
Good shit. Good album. Kanye is good. I like rap music. Music's cool.
Yeah, music good.
All right. See you next time.
Yeah.